So, first of all, just like you to have your glasses and just please toast to Alan for his well-said speech and congratulate him again on his day. I think he did fantastic today. He was absolutely a bag of nerves and he knows it's his biggest day, and I think he's done really, really well because he came through and he looked straight into Terry's eyes and she had little glassy eyes when she was coming through, and it just recovered him then. He just knew he was in the right place at the right time. Secondly, I'd like us to all toast the bride Terry for either being blind on love or simply blind drunk when you met Alan, because it's an absolute honour to be here, but an absolute gratitude for you to be taking him off our hands. Cheers. So that's the second toast to Terry.
Cheers.
I'd like us all to toast the father of the bride, Andrew, for his well-said speech, and Terry's mum, Ellen, also for helping me today. And for their surprise, of also agreeing to let their daughter marry Alan. Clearly there's a lot they need to find out. So cheers, guys.
Cheers.
Cheers. Please don't let me drink on my own. Everyone has to take a drink. Fourth, I'd like to thank Stephen and Elaine, Alan's parents, for helping make the day. I've known you guys over the years, and obviously I've been to the house and, you know, plenty of time. I mean, I've probably not grown much since he's but, you know, knocking on the Alan as he coming playing out. He's in good hands now, and, you know, you've got nothing to worry about. So cheers, guys. Thanks a lot.
Cheers.
I'm not seeing everyone pick up the glasses. I want to see everyone drinking. Everyone cheers.
You'll fish from the bar.
Finally, on behalf of the bride and groom, I'd just like to toast you all for coming and turning up today. So thanks for all making it, and thanks for making the bride and groom's day. So cheers to you lot.
Cheers. Cheers.
Now, I was practicing this all day yesterday. I couldn't even see the script after an hour of practicing this, as you can probably tell. I've used, obviously, real props. Just before I get into the thick of things and potentially into trouble with some of you, I'd like to propose a little game in that if you find this speech funny, upsetting, distressing, or in any way vulgar, I apologise, but I'd just like you to acknowledge that by just taking another sip of your drinks. Now, this isn't technically official Best Man rules. It's just my way of helping you remember this speech inaccurately and as mildly funny, or as that short guy weren't too bad. I think, for example, just to test the scale of things, and if there is any small children, please get your hands ready for over their ears. I do apologise, there will be a couple of swear words and a couple of rude words, but just to see how you feel. I just want to test the mood of everyone. We might be doing this after food with drinks, but what did the banana say to the dildo? What are you shaking for? She's going to eat me. Right. Now, marriage is not a word, it's a sentence. Alan, it's a life sentence. It's an institution in which the man loses his bachelor's degree and the woman gains her master's. Marriage is a thing which puts a ring on a woman's finger and two under the man's eyes. Marriage requires a man to prepare 4 rings: the engagement ring, the wedding ring, the suffering, the touring. Marriage life is full of excitement. The first year, the man speaks, the bride listens. The second year, the woman speaks, the groom listens. The third year, they both shout and the neighbours listen. Now, getting married is very much like going for a meal with your friends. You sit down, you all order what you want, you see what your mate's got, and then you think, oh, I wish I'd ordered that. It's true that all men are born free and equal. Some of them get married. There was a man who muttered a few words in his sleep once. Then he found... there was a man who... messed that one up. He muttered a few words in church and found himself married. A year later, he muttered something in his sleep and got divorced. Clear from work. Might be one of them. When a man opens the door of his car, you can be sure of one thing. Either the car is new, or the wife. It doesn't matter how often a man changes his job, you can be sure of one thing. Always going to have the same boss. They say that when a man holds a woman's hand before marriage, it is love. and it is with you two. But after marriage, it is classified as self-defence, so don't you worry about it, it's classified as self-defence. And just to check how we're all getting on, why is it so hard for women to find men that are so sensitive, so caring and good-looking?
Because those men already have boyfriends.
Ladies and gentlemen, if you didn't already know, I'm Aaron the Best Man, and in time-honoured tradition, I'm going to now give you Alan the most uncomfortable 5 minutes of his life. For the record, the most uncomfortable 5 minutes of Terry's life will be coming courtesy of Alan later on this evening. 2 minutes. Well, okay. 30 seconds, I thought you recorded. Just to also let you know and introduce Paul, who didn't think he was going to be in this speech, but he's had a few comments and a few digs throughout the day, so I've decided that you're going to have a little part in this now. I just want to introduce Paul. He's the guy with the shiny head. He's our other best mate. Coincidentally, we had to do cis-pram pictures, so you've got the job of best man today. And if any of you know how the game goes, scissor, paper, stone. We did the best of 3, and as usual I won, so it went best of 7, best of 10, etc. Eventually I won 96 to Paul's 83. So on that occasion it was 192. He keeps on going until he can win. So basically, thankfully Paul had been drinking that day. Eventually he fell asleep. At which point we proceeded to draw on him and decorate him with various material. Now unfortunately we don't have a projector today, fortunately for you, because they would totally have been going up. But just to let everybody know, if anyone wants to see any funny pictures of Paul, I have them on my mobile. So feel free at any time during the evening to come and ask me, and you will gladly see some very hilarious pictures of that man right there. Now what can I say about a man who come from humble beginnings, is now quickly rising to the top of his profession, solely on intelligence, grit and willpower to push on where others might fail. A man who is beginning to distinguish himself amongst his peers and where none can say a bad word against him. Now we're not here to talk about the best man, we're here to talk about Alan. Now my job's not to make a complete fool of Alan. Me and Paul are fully aware he will be doing that later on himself. Perhaps a few times in our life, we get a chance to say some really nice things to a man of intelligence, wit and wisdom. Unfortunately, tonight is not one of those occasions. Alan, a legend in his own mind, he claims to be a self-made man. I think it's damn nice of you to take the blame. I can honestly say that in all the years I've known Alan, no one has ever once questioned his intelligence. In fact, come to think of it, no one's even mentioned it. Alan, as most of you know, works for Tesco's, and for a very long time he's been involved and gone up the chain. Most of the time he's working now as a manager. He has also been involved in customer services. One day Alan had to take an internal call from someone requesting his help, and Alan said he was too busy dealing with real customers. When Alan said, the caller angrily replied to Alan, "Do you know who you're talking to?" When Alan said no, the caller said he was the company's MD. Imagine that, the MD at Tesco's on the other end of the phone. Alan replied to that as, "Do you know who you're talking to?" And the MD replied, "No, I don't." Alan, single moment of genius, replied, "Loser," and put the phone down. His single moment of genius, second only, of course, to creating Baby Charlie. Now that was a surprise, and a miracle. I didn't know you had it in you, mate. High five. Occasionally though, Alan does have some absolute brilliant moments of total silence. Like now, you're brilliant, mate. Watching Alan at work, he's kind of like a piano player in a brothel. He's near the action, but he doesn't totally get involved. Now, to be quite honest with you, today it is a relief and a shock to be standing here witnessing Alan marry the love of his life, Terry. At first, when I heard of them getting together, all my initial thoughts, boiled up and gut instincts about Alan over the years, seemed to be coming true. He's gay! He's finally coming out! Then I heard there was a baby on the way. This was hard for me to apprehend. Was it possible? Could two guys actually have a child? I'd seen that news report, but at this stage I was totally confused. He's marrying Terry. I couldn't understand it. Like the very first time a man gets into bed with a woman. I didn't know what to do with myself. Thankfully, when I first met Terry, spelt with an I was relieved to see, and this was meant to say a natural blonde, because last time I seen you had blonde hair. What is your natural colour?
Ginger.
Sorry, a bit of sake just come back up. Serious? You're beautiful, though. For those who don't know, Alan is a Welsh-born, South African brought-up English boy who supports Liverpool. His dad supports Everton, and they decided to live in Manchester. Who won't be confused with all that going on? Me. I was always expecting the day for Alan to phone me and Paul up and to say, "Hi guys, fancy coming round watching a film and dressing up as cowboys?" It's a film about something about a mountain and some guys with sore backs or something. Now, I'd not always had my doubts about Alan and thought like this, up until one day when we were 16, we just started college. We're on our bus, on our way home on the bus, not past our driving test yet, 16 years old, passing past McDonald's to get our tea, and suddenly, out of the blue, Alan perks up and on a packed bus of angry chavs. Me and him, fresh-faced young boys, sat at the back. And he blurts out, "How did we meet?" in his campus voice. As you can imagine, the redness rising up in me, I thought, everyone's just turned around and looked at us, we're going to get filled in here. And by the sounds of things, not how little Jessie here would like. Then, like a guy trying to dig himself out of a hole, I gave him a slide-dead leg, and he replies, "Shut up, mate, it's the way you take it." Fuck's sake. Oh, I couldn't believe it. You'd never heard the bell on the bus ring so much as that one. I'd try and get off fearing for my life. Thankfully, the day did come that he met Terry. Baby Charlie followed, and all was well. Alan always remembers the advice his grandfather gave him. Before you fall in love with a pair of bright eyes, make sure it's not just the sunshine shining through the back of her head. Alan first met Terry in 1987, would you believe? That was a room number. Alan, when Terry says her food could melt in your mouth, she means you frost it first. When Terry and Alan decided to get married, Terry said to Alan, "You know, a lot of men are going to be really miserable when I marry you." Alan replied, quite quick again for his normal standard, "What do you mean? How many men are you going to marry?" Alan's always said that he'd never marry a girl until he found one that likes what he likes, himself. And he's found her. Now there are obviously 2, 3, 4, maybe very, very important people here today that over the evening you're going to get to know them a lot very, very well, and without them this evening and this day could not be what it is. I'd like us all to take our drinks. Take our drinks, and for everyone to please congratulate the bar staff. Cheers, bar staff. Mr. Lee, Mr. Chairman. For the final toast, I'd just like to say, Alan, may all your ups and downs be between the sheets. And I just want to wish you the happiness and the best of luck in your life and marriage together. I'm sure it's going to be long and prosperous. You're going to have a great time. You're perfect for each other. You look great with each other. And so I'd just like to say, here's to you. I hope the speech said enough to what you wanted it to. I could have gone on a lot more, but I really wanted to. Yeah, let's get some food. Let's eat.
Cheers.
Cheers.
Cheers.